you back for more. I got to tell you, it warms my heart. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's Quality Start, August 4th, 2020. It's real simple. We got a show about baseball. We're going to talk about Jesus Luzardo. He'll be pitching tonight for the Oakland Athletics. That's a good thing. We all want to see that. We'll talk about last night as well. Some mistakes were made by pitchers. Some great swings were executed by hitters like Trent Grisham and Nelson Cruz and Mike Yastrzemski. Man, that guy's on fire. It doesn't matter where he's playing. He can hit the ball out of any park. So we're going to talk about all that and so much more. The Miami Marlins are back from the great COVID beyond, so we get to actually see them in action. I don't know who's playing for them, but the Marlins will be on the field tonight against the Orioles. Let's do it. Let's get this show started right now.
The King of the North!
If you're not familiar with our show, this is the segment where we give praise to the player who undoubtedly was the best, most outstanding player for the previous night's action. And today, that player is Crush. Mr. Davis, watch him swing at a line drive, the deep left field way back, and this ball is gone. Look at the bullpen go crazy. The fans, there are no fans, but the teammates loving it. Well-deserved for Crush Davis, one of the most liked players in all of baseball. The guy who is so consistent, he bats .247 every single season. Kudos to him, his first home run of the season. It's got to feel good for Crush Davis to get one on the board, as the dong he hit was 7 mph slower than a lineout he had against Justice Sheffield. Baseball's weird.
He left it. He left it.
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
It was a tough night for a few hitters who could not seem to bring home the bacon. Marcus Semien and Matt Chapman each left 6 on base, even though the A's scored 11 runs against the Mariners. Just imagine how much worse it really could have been. I know this is starting to seem like the local Oakland Athletics broadcast, but I assure you it's not. Frankie Montas deserves credit for going 7 strong, 4 hits, 1 earned, and 9 Ks on 99 pitches. Montas' mechanics were also locked in. Check out the release point on all his various types of pitches. Pretty impressive and consistent. For comparison's sake, let's pull up Jacob deGrom's start from last night with Montas side by side. And as you can tell, both of them were dynamite in their consistency and their delivery. And that is a hallmark of a great starting pitcher.
This one hit toward Freeman. Soroka tumbles off the mound. He's still down. Mike Soroka went down in a heap, and he is limping toward the foul line.
Well, this is a damn shame. Mike Soroka does not deserve this. Sure, I avoided him in almost every draft I can think of, but nobody deserves this. And I just want to say right now, really feel for you, Mike. Tough break. Again, it's a real bummer. And Soroka being who he was, he really created a lot of buzz in the offseason about his strikeout potential for 2020. Soroka was one of the most talked about players coming into 2020 because of his possible breakout potential. But now all that is gone. And you have to wonder what the Braves will do in his stead. They have a plethora of arms at their disposal. Remember that they DFA'd Mike Foltynewicz, but he cleared, and he's in their alternate training camp site still. There's also Cole Hamels, who's on the IL with triceps tendonitis, and they have a bunch of youngsters they could rely on, like Ian Anderson. But the one name I'd like you to look at on this board is Josh Tomlin. Now, sure, you may have chuckled, but Tomlin's getting some great results. And if this short season is all about the here and now, it's possible that they turn to Tomlin. I could be totally out to lunch, and I'll freely admit it. But hey, it's something to consider. Shohei Ohtani has been shut down from throwing for 4 to 6 weeks, but it's likely he may not pitch again in this shortened season. Hopefully, though, he'll be able to resume his DH duties, where he can still provide you a lot of value.
Baseball stuff!
Baseball stuff! The Miami Marlins are no longer postponed. If you have a fantasy squad, and it's very likely you do because you're watching this show, you had that PPD next to each one of those Marlins names. So if you had Caleb Smith or Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Aguilar, PPD, very annoying. But I think that's over now because the Marlins are set to play the Orioles Tuesday night in Camden Yards. It's going to be exciting. The Marlins will be a home team for part of this series because they were supposed to play down in Miami, but nobody wants to go back down there now. So they're going to play the whole series, which was supposed to be a split 2-2 at beautiful Camden Yards. It's August. It's a great time of year to go see a baseball game. Oh, yeah, but you can't. Yeah, you can't go see them. But you can watch it on TV. Regardless, we don't know who will start as of this taping. Sandy Alcantara was the lead guy. Started off the rotation the first game of the season for the Marlins. So hopefully he'll get the start, and they'll just run it back from there. He had a great outing against the Phillies. He gave up 1 home run to Didi Gregorius, and that was pretty much it. It was a strong effort. So hopefully Jesus Aguilar can get back into his groove. Miguel Rojas can start swinging that hot bat. He was hitting over 500 in his 3 games he played in. So there's a lot to like on this Marlins team. There is value. There's fantasy advantages. The only negative is if they're not playing, they can't help you. But hopefully you don't have to worry about that anymore. We welcome back the Marlins to Major League Baseball, and hopefully there'll be no more outings at the club or the casino or whatever the hell it is players do on their free time, which leads to them getting COVID.
Almost returning to a full slate of games, except for the Phillies and the Yankees will not be playing. I like to think I'm a pretty resourceful guy, but I could not find out for sure if the Phillies and the Yankees were off today. So if I end up looking like a jackass, so be it. Obviously, the Cardinals are not playing because they have a bunch of new COVID cases, and they are out of order. The Dodgers and Padres continue their series Tuesday at Petco Park, and here's an example of a home run by Trent Grisham, deep right field. Look at him. It's his 4th. I think he just flashed the number 4 with his hand. That was awesome. He's going up against Dustin May. So if you like young, exciting, high-end talent in Major League Baseball, then you should definitely tune in and focus on Grisham versus May. The Diamondbacks host the Houston Astros, and can it get any worse offensively? I'm not sure it can. The D-backs are last in the league in barrels, and the Marlins, who've only played 3 games, have 5 to the D-backs 3. The D-backs will be hoping that facing Christian Javier, who's just a rookie, will be the cure for what ails their lagging offense. Problem is, Javier was fantastic in his debut against the Dodgers last week. The only hope that the D-backs may have is that they can get to Javier 3rd time through the order if he lasts that long. The velocity on his pitches fell dramatically in his last inning of work in his debut. So this is something to keep an eye on, and hopefully the D-backs can find a little bit of a break facing this rookie. And then you have the man. Shane Bieber has been absolutely in fuego, totally dominant. And he's going up against the Reds in a classic showdown of Ohio, which is a state that I would just love to rip into right now, except I can't because I went to the University of Michigan, and I have no room to say anything negative about Ohio, and I probably won't for the foreseeable future. However, I have plenty of good things to say about this guy, Paul Mamino. He's our head of research and data visualizations. He creates his own pitching data models like this right here. This shows you the whiffs that Bieber gets on his fastball in any count. And then this is what happens with the breaking ball location and the whiffs that Bieber generates in any count. If you want to learn more about how Paul analyzes the data, head on over to rotofanatic.com and check out the article he did recently on relief pitching. His model is explained in detail, and Paul will be releasing more content related to starting pitching data models on Thursday.
This day in fantasy history! Yes, it is that time. It's everyone's favorite part of the show. Well, actually, I don't know if it's everyone's favorite. I can't prove that. It's certainly a personal favorite of mine, but that's, I don't want to speak for everybody. Today, it's August 4th, and we're talking about moments that happened on this day in Major League Baseball that had an impact on a fantasy squad somewhere back in time. It could have happened 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 80 years ago. We usually try to stick to things that are somewhat more modern, last 20, 25 years or so. But if something really incredible happened, we'll go deep. We'll go way back. We usually try to keep it post 47 or later, when everybody had an equitable chance to be on the field at the same time. Having said that, today somebody walked 5 times. 5 times in one game. It's not something that happens every day. Do you want to know who it is? Well, here you go.
On this date in 2012, Mike Baxter set a team record and tied the National League mark when he walked 5 times in a 9-inning game. The Mets would win the game at Petco Park 6-4 that day. But more importantly, do you remember having Mike Baxter on your squad and getting all of those walks? In 2008, on this day, Raul Ibanez, the clutch hitter for many teams like the Yankees and the Royals, he came through with 6 RBI in 1 inning. A 10-run outburst by the Mariners was led by this charge from Ibanez. But more importantly, do you remember having him on your fantasy team at this time? Do you also recall talking trash on the message board? And in closing, the guy who changed the double play forever, Chase Utley, had his 35-game hitting streak come to a close. It was a great run, and if you had him in 2006, you were probably loving the constant contribution he gave to your batting average.